Okay, good morning, everyone. Thanks for coming, especially on this hot day where it's much nicer to be inside. But we're here because we want to get the word out to the community as far as what's happening with our upcoming elections and how it's going to change. I think most of us are familiar with going to the polls. Sometimes we go to our local garages or local community facilities, so that library, for example, or city hall, or some other locations where everyone will stop by and between 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning, for the day, and go cast your vote. Okay, so basically that is going to be changing because the goal is to make it more convenient for voters, because obviously our lifestyles have changed from the traditional ways that we might have been used to. People, sometimes work at different locations. They may live, for example, in Monterey Park and maybe work in Santa Monica, or work all the way up in Lancaster or somewhere. And the time limit that you have for casting your ballot is extremely limited in that sense, because you only have that day to vote, right? So the idea is to make it easier for everyone and give everyone the opportunity to cast a vote for whomever they like, or whatever issue that they're voting for. So today, as far as Monterey Park is concerned, we're also going to be, of course, changing our process, because we are consolidating with the Los Angeles County to work with them, as far as our elections, our future elections. So starting in 2020, our election in 2020, we will be utilizing what's called the voting center. And so what we're doing right now, the county is doing right now, is trying to solicit input from the public on where we're going to put those voting centers, okay? And the reason why we're having this press conference is we really want to get the word out, so that our communities, and of course general community, especially specifically like in Monterey Park, we have what's over 60% of our residents and are Asian, and then 26.9, if I'm not mistaken, specifically are of residents are of Latino descent. And so we want to get the folks who are qualified to vote, the citizens among those who live in Monterey Park, to vote, and to vote where it's convenient for them. So today we wanted to introduce the opportunity for our residents to give input as far as where they would like to vote. As I mentioned earlier, maybe the Monterey Park resident who lives in Monterey Park, of course, but maybe he or she works in Santa Monica. But with our voting centers, then he or she can go to the voting center and cast his or her vote for a candidate here in Monterey Park. They would not have to rush back to Monterey Park if they had to go to work in the morning. If they didn't get a chance to vote in the morning for whatever reason, they would not have to actually try to rush back to Monterey Park to vote. They can go to whatever voting center that's close to them, and they can cast their vote for the candidates here in the city of Monterey Park, and any other cities that are involved in the process as well. So the link I would like to provide right now, it's www.placeworkcivics, that's standard spelling, placeworkscivic.com. That's placeworkscivic.com /project LACOVCPP. I know that's long, but that stands for the LA County's Vote Center Placement Project. And I believe that link is actually on your press release. You can go to that site, or the reader can go to that site, and they can select or give input as far as where they would like to see a voting center placed. It doesn't have to be necessarily in Monterey Park, but wherever they would like to vote, okay? So for example, again, in that, if you were out in Lancaster, you might want to have a voting center somewhere out there in Lancaster, wherever that may be, okay? Now, the only thing is we need to get this, there is a deadline on this, so the deadline is Friday, August 24th, 2018. Again, that's Friday, August 24th, 2018. So our, LA County residents and Monterey Park residents who are eligible to vote should, really I would encourage them to go to the website and input their selection for the voting center that they like to see, okay? Any questions so far? Okay. Okay. I also like to introduce my deputy clerk, city clerk, who's standing there making faces at me. Cindy Chang. Certainly if you have any questions, you're more than welcome to contact our office. Let's see. Did I miss anything? Okay. All right. No more question, then thank you very much for coming. And again, I certainly appreciate you getting the word out to our community as far as, asking them to help out in selecting these voting centers so that we will be able to vote in, for the City of Monterey Park 2020. So I think with that, I would say thank you very much, unless, Cindy, do you have anything to add? No. Okay. Again, if you need the link, we have the link on our city website as well. So again, just a reminder, August 24th, 2018 is the deadline. So please go and make your selection on or before that date, preferably. Okay? Thanks. Yes?
How many of the VCPP locations will be throughout the LA County? The potential number?
Right. I think the final number is still to be determined. But they're actually working, the people who can work their statistical magics are the one that's probably putting that together. I suck at statistics, so I don't know. But that's one of the reason is that we for our Monterey Park residents and other folks who live nearby, we want them to give their input as far as, where they would like to see that that voting center place.
And how many locations could it be potentially in one city?
How many?
How many locations could be in one city? Is it maximum or?
So the different cities, they're all consolidated into clusters, and depending on the cluster, and that's how many they're going to determine. So Monterey Park is part of the cluster with other cities, and they're anticipating about 14, but again, that's not a definite answer. So I mean, depending on the boundary of the clusters, and then there are so many within the clusters. Yeah.
Right. Okay, thank you. All right. Okay, thank you so much.